If you are over 60, this daily routine could secretly increase the risk of stroke during sleep, without any warning, without suffering. One moment you are perfectly fine, and the next you can't move your arm, have difficulty communicating, or have compromised balance. As a neurologist, I have witnessed too many older people go through this experience. And not because of tobacco, poor diet, or a sedentary lifestyle, but because of something they thought would benefit them. Vitamin supplements. That's right, supplements. Millions of older people take supplements every day, hoping to strengthen their bones, boost their vitality, or keep their minds sharp. And while many are beneficial, some, especially if taken in too much or at the wrong time, can secretly compromise the brain. Today I want to show you 5 common vitamins that can increase the risk of stroke, brain bleeds, or blood pressure spikes, especially in the early morning hours when the brain is at its most fragile. If you have ever taken vitamins D, E, B6, A, or niacin, this content could protect your life. But before continuing, like the video, share it with people who might benefit from it, and write in the comments if you take any supplements and which ones. Now let's start with the most incredible aspect of all, vitamin D. What you don't know about it could turn a peaceful rest into a dangerous one. Surely you have learned that it benefits your bones, your mood, and even your immune defenses. And all of this is correct, but in balance. But there is one aspect that is never revealed to the majority of seniors. Too much vitamin D, especially if taken at night, can secretly increase the risk of stroke. I know this may sound shocking, but I have seen it in my patients. Consider Mr. Clark, a 75-year-old retired sailor. He was alert, methodical, and took his health seriously. Every morning, as precise as a stopwatch, he organized his supplements, including a vitamin D tablet he had bought without a prescription. He thought he was safeguarding his bones. But what he did not know was that this banal habit was gradually leading his body towards a silent catastrophe. One morning his wife found him disoriented. He couldn't express himself properly. His right limb hung motionless. A stroke. Nocturnal. Tests revealed dangerously high levels of calcium, hardened blood vessels, and abnormal blood pressure. The culprit, vitamin D intoxication. You have to understand that when you ingest large amounts of vitamin D, especially without medical supervision, it causes a buildup of calcium in your bloodstream, and your body doesn't understand how to handle all that extra calcium. So it deposits it in your arteries, making them stiff and narrow. And can you imagine where it could lead? A blood clot directly to the brain. As we age, our blood vessels naturally lose elasticity. Add to that dehydration, insufficient sleep, and increased nighttime calcium, and you have the perfect conditions for a stroke. The most alarming aspect is that there are no warnings. You go to bed feeling normal and wake up with your life forever transformed. And here's something you probably don't know. Many commercial vitamin D supplements available around the world include much more than the elderly need, 5,000 to 10,000 units a day. People ingest it every day, believing that more is better. But research shows that even 2,000 units a day may be too much if you're not deficient. Let me be explicit. If you take vitamin D, especially with calcium or heart medications, it is essential to check your blood levels regularly and always take it in the morning, never before bed. Do you know how many units your supplement includes? Type D in the comments. If you are currently taking vitamin D, let's start the discussion. And if this has got you thinking, please like this to help others find out too. Now, if this surprised you, brace yourselves. The next vitamin is one that many people take for heart health, but in older adults, it can cause something even more dangerous than a blood clot, a brain bleed. Let's discuss vitamin E. Vitamin E, often called the heart friend. If you've been taking it for a while, you're not alone. Many people over 60 are incorporating vitamin E into their routine, hoping it will support their heart, optimize circulation, and maybe even their memory and skin. But here's the section that isn't listed on the product packaging. Too much vitamin E, especially when combined with common heart medications, can increase the risk of brain bleeding. That's right, even if you're doing everything appropriately. I want to tell you about an episode that I'll never forget. Mrs. Laura, 82, a retired librarian from Ohio. She was bright, witty, and constantly had a book in her hands. She had a valvular heart condition and took warfarin, a popular blood thinner. Her specialists monitored everything meticulously. Her blood tests were fine, her blood pressure was regular, but one day she bought a bottle of natural vitamin E that she had noticed advertised in a publication. 800 units per tablet. I thought it would help my memory and circulation, she told me. 3 weeks later, she was rushed to the emergency room with a terrible headache, disorientation, and nausea. A brain scan showed a hemorrhagic stroke, or bleeding inside the brain. Not from high blood pressure, not from a fall, but because the combination of warfarin and high doses of vitamin E had made her blood too thin to clot. Only a delicate vessel in her brain gave way. Here's what most people don't know. Vitamin E in high doses works as a natural blood thinner. That means it slows clotting. If you're already taking aspirin, Plavix, or any other blood thinner and then add vitamin E, the risk of internal bleeding secretly increases, especially in the brain, where even a small bleed can impair your ability to communicate, remember, or walk. And consider that the daily recommended amount for seniors is only 15 milligrams, or about 21 units. Yet most commercial supplements include 200 to 1,000 units per tablet. No directions, no advice, and many individuals take them daily for years. Mrs. Evelyn survived, but now walks with the aid of a cane. Her recent memory has never been the same. She told me this through tears. I only wanted to do myself good. I didn't know I was doing harm. And that's the part that saddens me, because it's not isolated. Many older people believe that if it's a vitamin, then it must be harmless. But the reality is that not all vitamins are harmless, especially if you take heart or blood pressure medications. Before you introduce anything new, you need to consult your specialist. Now, as if the concept of a brain bleed wasn't alarming enough, there's another vitamin that people take to help their nerves and provide energy, but which can secretly and sometimes irreversibly deteriorate them. Let's discuss vitamin B6. Vitamin B6, often described as a nerve booster or a brain enhancer. You may have noticed it in those drugstore bottles that claim to help increase energy, concentration, or even memory. And you may have even been told that it helps aging nerves. But here's what most older people are never told about. Too much vitamin B6 can damage the nerves, sometimes irreversibly. Let me tell you about Mr. Harold. He was 78 years old and a retired truck driver from Kansas. He came to my office because his feet were numb, his hands were tingling, and he had lost his balance. At first, he thought it was just his age. Then he started falling, first once, then again. The third time, he hit his head on the bathroom floor. When I looked up his supplements, I immediately identified the problem. He had been taking a nerve support formula for over a year. The label said it promoted brain health and circulation. But inside each pill were 100 milligrams of vitamin B6, and he was taking 2 pills a day. That's 200 milligrams a day, more than 10 times the maximum recommended safety limit for the elderly. Now comes the most alarming part. Unlike some vitamins that are excreted in the urine, B6 is deposited in the body over time. In older people, however, it can break down the protective coating around nerves, as if the insulation were removed from a wire. The result is tingling, numbness, muscle weakness, tremors, and even disorientation or memory problems. Worse still, the symptoms come on gradually. Many people think it's arthritis, senescence, or early dementia, but in reality it could be vitamin B6 toxicity, a kind of gradual, avoidable nervous deterioration brought on by a pill designed to assist. And it can be irreversible if not caught early. Mr. Jenkins was lucky. We stopped the supplement, and the deterioration has not progressed, but he continues to use a cane. He no longer drives. He said, "I just wanted to save my brain. I didn't realize I was poisoning it." Let's be clear. Vitamin B6 is important, but in very small doses. Older adults only need about 2 to 10 milligrams a day, and that includes what we eat. But many brain support pills sold online or in stores include 50 to 200 milligrams. This is not only unnecessary, it's risky. So if you're taking a supplement that says nerves, brain, or energy, check the label, know the dosages, and if you've taken a similar supplement, write B6 in the comments, or know someone who has. Now, you might be thinking, at least certain vitamins like A must be harmless. They're only for vision, right? Well, not exactly. Let's discuss vitamin A. If you're like most seniors, you've probably learned that vitamin A is essential for good eyesight. Maybe you've also taken it for your immune system, skin health, or because someone has reported that it helps you age gracefully. But here's what almost no one tells you, especially if you're over 60. Too much vitamin A doesn't sit idly in your system. It gets deposited, and over time, it can increase pressure inside your skull, mimicking a stroke, deteriorating your vision, and even damaging your brain. I want to tell you about Mrs. Elizabeth. She was 79 years old and a retired piano teacher from Oregon. She loved music, taught students from her living room, and prided herself on her independence. But one day she began to have headaches. Then came the blurred vision. Then the dizziness and difficulty speaking. His family feared the worst, a stroke. But when we did the CT scan, something unexpected emerged. No blood clots, no bleeding. Instead, the intracranial pressure was high. Too much pressure inside the brain. His spinal fluid was blocked. The small veins in his brain were under tension. The culprit? Vitamin A toxicity. For over 5 years, he had been taking a high-dose supplement for his skin and eyes, about 10,000 units a day, every day, without realizing it. Here's the essential distinction. Vitamin A is fat-soluble. This means that the body stores it in the liver, tissues, and even the brain. It doesn't get excreted like vitamin C or B, and as we age, our livers slow down, so the accumulation happens even more rapidly. When there is too much vitamin A in the body, a condition called pseudotumor cerebri, a false brain tumor, can occur. The symptoms: headaches, blurred or double vision, dizziness, nausea, even permanent vision loss or cognitive decline. The tricky part is that many multivitamins already include the full recommended dose of vitamin A, but some people, like Mrs. Dot, unintentionally multiply or triple it by adding skin, eye, or anti-aging products. The safe upper limit for seniors is about 3,000 units per day, to be taken only as needed and under medical supervision. But many supplements marketed online include between 5,000 and 10,000 units. If taken daily for months or years, it is easy to see how the damage accumulates. Ms. Dot is gradually recovering, but she now requires periodic eye exams, blood pressure checks, and balance therapy. He said, "I thought I was doing something good for my body. I never thought it would deteriorate my brain. And that's why I'm sharing his story, because it's not about alarming anyone. It's about making sure you know the facts, so you can protect yourself and your autonomy." Now, if you thought vision vitamins were dangerous, wait until you find out what happens when a vitamin designed for cholesterol and heart health suddenly sends your blood pressure skyrocketing. Let's discuss niacin, a B3 vitamin, a vitamin you may have taken or been advised to take for your heart. Niacin, also known as vitamin B3, is frequently touted as a natural way to lower cholesterol. Some doctors even prescribe it. It's also found in heart-healthy supplements, booster drinks, and fortified cereals. But here's what often gets left out of the discussion, especially when it comes to older adults. Niacin, when taken in high amounts, can subtly cause large changes in blood pressure and even trigger a stroke. Let me introduce you to Mr. Frank. He's an 83-year-old retired mail carrier from Texas. He came to see me with a strange combination of symptoms: flushing of the face, a feeling of pounding in the chest, dizziness that came and went every morning. His wife thought it was anxiety. His son blamed it on his blood pressure medication, but the real cause was something no one had thought to look into. Frank was taking a commercial heart health supplement. The front label said, "Supports cholesterol and circulation." The back, 1,000 milligrams of niacin per serving. He took it twice a day. That's 2,000 milligrams a day, over 60 times the dose most seniors actually require. Here's what happens when you take niacin in large amounts. It causes your blood vessels to suddenly expand, which may make your face flush or feel hot. But then those same vessels contract and narrow. This sudden contraction can raise blood pressure, strain the heart, and decrease blood flow to the brain. Over time, this seesaw effect is like hitting a hammer on delicate glass. Eventually, something gives. Dennis had what's called a transient ischemic attack, or TIA, a mini-stroke. He had trouble speaking for 2 minutes, then came back. He thought it was a fluke. I had to tell him the harsh reality. His daily supplement, designed to support his heart, was secretly deteriorating his brain. And it's not an isolated case. Many older adults take high amounts of niacin without even realizing it. They buy no-flush or slow-release formulations online, believing they're safer. But even these versions can still raise blood pressure, trigger atrial fibrillation, and mess up blood sugar levels. Here's what you need to know. For seniors, anything over 50 milligrams of niacin per day should be used only under medical supervision. And if you have high blood pressure, arrhythmias, or are taking medications, check the labels. Dennis is now off niacin. He is recovering. No irreversible deterioration, but he told me something I will never forget. "Doctor, I thought I was doing everything right. I didn't know I was taking a risk with my brain." So now that we've explored 5 popular vitamins, each with the ability to secretly deteriorate your brain, you might be wondering, what should I take instead? Or better yet, what should I consume? Let's talk about real food, the kind that safeguards your brain without the dangers. At this point, you might be wondering, if these vitamins can be dangerous, what should I do instead? That's a great question, because the reality is that your body was not designed to operate on pills. It was built to thrive on real food, whole, natural, nutrient-rich food that your brain identifies, assimilates, and utilizes in the appropriate amounts. Let me tell you about Mrs. Margaret. She is a 70-year-old retired school administrator from Arizona. When I first met her, she pulled out a drawer full of supplements. Vitamin D for bones, vitamin E for the heart, B complex for energy, niacin for cholesterol, a multivitamin, and a few more to assist the brain. "I'm doing everything right, doctor," she said. But in the morning she felt groggy. Her balance was off. Her blood pressure continued to rise. Something wasn't right. So we did something drastic. We eliminated the unnecessary. One by one, we removed the pills and replaced them with food. No miracle diets, no complex programs. Just simple whole foods at the right times and in the right combinations. Here's what her breakfast looked like. A hard-boiled egg for healthy protein. Half an avocado packed with healthy fats. A slice of whole wheat toast. Gradual and steady energy. A handful of blueberries packed with brain-protective antioxidants. A glass of room-temperature water to hydrate the brain. Sometimes she would throw in a few walnuts or almonds. That was it. No powders, no pills, just food. Authentic, identifiable, nutritious. Within a few weeks, Maggie noticed a difference. Her dizziness disappeared. Her blood pressure stabilized. Her energy returned. And she reported that her mind was clearer than it had been in years. Your brain requires hydration, healthy fats, regular fuel, and micronutrients in their natural form. It doesn't require megadoses. It requires balance. Some of the best foods for seniors include leafy greens like spinach and kale. They are high in folate and antioxidants. Fatty fish, like salmon or sardines, rich in omega-3 to protect brain cells. Berries for polyphenols that decrease inflammation. Nuts and seeds for vitamin E, magnesium, and fats beneficial for the brain. Whole grains to keep blood sugar regular and promote circulation. And remember, these foods not only safeguard your brain, but also your heart, bones, mood, and mobility. You are not just consuming, you are healing with every bite. One final word of warning. Awareness is the best medicine. At this stage of life, every decision matters more. And the reality is that it is not the pills you take, but what you understand about them that truly safeguards you. Your body in your 60s, 70s, and 80s doesn't process supplements the same way it did when you were younger. Even well-intentioned habits like taking vitamins can secretly backfire if you're not careful. That's why awareness is your most effective medicine. You don't have to fear vitamins, but you do have to respect them. Read labels. Consult your doctor and listen to your body, especially when it tells you to. If you found a part of this video interesting, let me know in the comments. What's one change you'll make starting tomorrow?